industry where we can be competitive. I'm going to fight for every job. As Romney shifts his campaign message to focus on the economy, more attention will likely be paid to his days heading up the investment firm Bain Capital.
The Los Angeles Times recently revealed Romney utilized shell companies in 2 offshore tax havens in Bermuda and the Cayman Islands to help eligible investors avoid paying U.S. taxes. The tax-friendly jurisdictions helped attract billions of investment dollars to Bain Capital. Romney, who's the wealthiest candidate running for president, still retains an investment in the private equity fund set up on Grand Cayman Island. Campaign disclosure forms show the investment paid him more than $1 million last year in dividends, interest, and capital gains. Bob Drogin is the reporter who broke the piece for the Los Angeles Times, joining us now from Washington, D.C. Bob, welcome to Democracy Now! Lay out Mitt Romney's business background. He's really running on that, saying, I'm the main person who comes from private business, not inside the Beltway in Washington, a politician.
Yeah, that's correct. I mean, the first thing is it's not an investment firm, as someone just said. An investment firm is something where you make an investment. It's a buyout firm. In 1984, he was tapped to set up what began as a venture capital spinoff of a management consulting firm in Boston called Bain Company. And Bain Capital began with these small investments in what were then startup companies, but very quickly, within a year or two, it became what's known as a leveraged buyout company. They would put up $1 million or so and borrow 10 or 20 or 50 more and buy into troubled companies and then strip assets and lay off workers and close factories and do whatever they needed to do, charge enormous fees and sell it as quickly as possible. Over the years, by the time he took a leave of absence in 1999, they had bought and sold more than 100 companies. And it's a little difficult to figure out how many jobs were lost or how many jobs were created. And I'm sure that overall there was probably a net gain in jobs in that period. But there were a number of cases that I was able to track where they did close companies, close factories, where they made staggering profits in the hundreds of millions of dollars shortly before companies crashed off into bankruptcy. This was the so-called decade of greed, and these were guys who were very much in the model of the Gordon Gekko. I mean, and it's not illegal, it's not improper, it's the way the system works. They went in, they bought up troubled companies. In some cases, they made them better. In some cases, they just, shredded them and took the money and ran. So that's the broad background. A sidelight of that was Bain Capital, which is today has assets of about $60 billion. That's the number that they officially say. And about a third of that comes from these offshore operations that Romney set up when he was still there. In particular, companies that are set up, really, they're just mail drops. They're mailboxes. They don't have any staff. They don't have any operations. The one on Grand Cayman Island is a post office box 60D, I think, on Grand Cayman Island, and the ones in Bermuda are also at a lawyer's office. But they've got them in other places as well, and they bring in somewhere above $25 billion a year. And again, these are companies, these are operations set up through various systems. They're blocker corporations. They are equity groups that are set up to attract, for the large part, foreign capital. And the reason these are set up overseas is so that foreign investors in these private companies can avoid paying U.S. taxes. Mitt Romney and his colleagues don't get that advantage. So it's not like they're avoiding taxes through this. It's simply what happens is they're helping other people avoid paying U.S. taxes, and as a result, they make enormous profits.
And how precisely do the foreign investors avoid taxes? Are these companies that are based there, are they investing in U.S. companies?
For the most part. They also have holdings offshore. Bain now has, I can't recall because I really didn't look into it. I mean, it has operations in Hong Kong and England, and I think it's got eight affiliates offshore. that is overseas. And I know the one in Italy, for example, recently got some attention because it was buying into something that